If you would just close your eyes and take a few mindful breaths. And as you take those breaths, what I'm going to ask you to do is really ask yourself, what was your conversation about your body today? So pay attention and ask yourself, how was I with my body today? Was I gentle? Was I critical? Was I kind? Was I harsh? Was I loving? Perfect. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We don't need to share or anything. Just keep it in the back of your mind because that's something you'll probably come back to a lot as I talk. So what my talk today is going to be about is it's going to be about a shared vision of body acceptance. Now, you know, we've heard so many different angles that people have had with what we've talked about, and we know that all of us want to make a difference in the world. And we know that one of the only ways we can truly make a difference is if we're honoring ourselves. So if we don't have that true honor for ourselves and our bodies, we're not going to be able to make a difference and really do the things we want to be able to do. So I'm hoping by the end of today's talk that what you all are going to do is you are going to have a fire lit under your butt, because I need that to happen. I need you all to own your bodies back and not have media own it. It's very important. So that's going to be my passion, and I hope I'm able to communicate a little bit of that to you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a psychologist, and I'm a feminist psychologist, so that tells you a little bit about why I might go on about some of these places where we experience oppression. So as a feminist psychologist, I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya. And it's interesting when I think about it, because I think about age 11 or 12 that I wanted to be a psychologist. And it was interesting because what I would think about is figuring out ways in which the trash collection in Nairobi could be more efficient. Come to think of it, I had no idea that what I was going to do when I come here to the States 33, 34 years later is I was going to be encouraging people to remove the trash from their homes, i.e. the trash that comes from your media. So it's really interesting that I've come a full circle from those years. So keep in mind that some of what I talk about is going to be about the impact of media, and I'm not saying discount media. I'm asking everybody to become a critical viewer of media. So I get angry. I get angry because having treated eating disorders all these years, what I find is that now in my office, I have 9 and 10-year-old girls who are developing eating disorders. So you're looking at anorexia, bulimia, compulsive eating. And we know bullying plays a big part in all of that. That's the violence and aggression. So when you have 9 and 10-year-old girls that are hating on their bodies, I think we've got something wrong we're doing. Would you guys not agree with that? Right? I mean, there's something majorly wrong if you have 9 and 10, 81% of 9 to 11-year-old girls fear being fat. They would rather be run over by a truck than be fat. Can you imagine that? 81% of girls. Half of 9 to 11-year-old girls have already been on diets. Half of 9 to 11-year-old girls. Imagine that. And now I'm on a college campus, so I may risk ruffling a few feathers, but 9 out of 10 college women are on a diet at any given time. Kind of resonate with some of you, right? Okay. So here's a question I have. How many of you, so as I go, kind of like as I go through my presentation, some of what may happen for you is you may get angry. I'm hoping you get angry. Because with anger, we can channel that anger into some positive movement. And what we've done in San Diego is we do a ton of prevention programs. In fact, last year alone, we did about 50 to 60 presentations around middle schools and high schools in San Diego in order to get girls to claim their bodies back and to have balance and moderation and variety in ways in which they do things. So please, if you start feeling astounded and angry and mad, please welcome that emotion, because it's through that emotion you're going to actually be able to move some things. So a question, how many of you have been on a diet once? Okay. How about twice? Twice? Okay. Now, when you started those diets, if you had been told There's a 5% success rate on your diet. Would you have gone on that diet? Just curious. Right, the silence in the room is pregnant. Okay, so we're told that if you go on a diet, it's 95% of people who go on a diet gain the weight back again. Now the dieting industry, guys, guess how big that industry is dollars-wise? $50 billion a year is what we spend on the dieting industry. 50 billion. $50 billion can send 300,000 of you through 4 years of private college. That's how much money we spend on dieting. Gain the 5, lose the 10, gain the 20, lose the 5. You know, this yo-yo that goes on. And we know dieting is hazardous to your health. Dieting is very hazardous to your health. I mean, there's more complications from dieting than there are from actual physical eating disorders that I treat. And who are the bedfellows over here? We have advertising and media are the two bedfellows that come together to create this piece that makes us feel yucky about ourselves. So keep in mind that the advertising business is a $250 billion business. Okay, $250 billion business. We spend $20 billion a year on makeup as women. Now, also the other thing I want you guys to know, 86% of the money spent in our country is spent by women. So I want you guys to begin to think about how, okay, please think about where and how you're going to spend your money, because we can vote with our money. We can vote with our pockets. So we have to remember that, please. So what I want you all to sort of be thinking about is the impact of media. And you know, we've got this huge thing that's going on right now about war on obesity, right? How many of you are sick of, tired of hearing about the war on obesity? Just kind of curious, okay? Everywhere we go, you hear about war on obesity. There's just this chronic discussion that's out there. And the word we use in our field, it is called globesity. And globesity, by the way, folks, I always tell people, when I do my presentations, I tell people, if you want to go into a very successful business, go into anything that's related to weight loss. Okay? You will make buco money. You'll be a part of that $50 billion industry. So globesity is really the next major cash cow that's coming up right now. And we've got, you know, you've got diet drugs. The big pharma is getting in there, and they're wanting to create all these diet drugs. So there's a whole lot that's going in having us all feel awful about ourselves. So the marketing, you know, when women spend 3 minutes looking at a woman's magazine, 80% of us feel awful about our bodies. So those of you who have any subscriptions to Glamour, People, Runner, all of those magazines, I say, please get rid of those, because 3 minutes of browsing through a magazine makes 80% of us feel awful. So what is marketing wants us to feel awful about our bodies, right? Because then we buy the product, then we have more, then we have excess. And so there's this whole big cycle that really leaves us feeling discontented and dissatisfied. I mean, the end result of all of this is no matter what perfect outfit you buy, no matter how much weight you lose, there's always something else in there that you feel like you should be perfecting. So I guess what I want everybody to be thinking about is we have this war on obesity. My question to all of you is, why do we not have a war on toxic media? Right? Can we not have a war on toxic media? How about a war on the toxic food culture? I was so glad we referred to Michael Pollan over here. How about a war on the toxic food culture? GMOs. We know that the industrial food production that occurred like about 20 years ago, more massive, like frozen foods and all that came out about 40 years ago. But this current health crisis we have is a result of the industrial food production. So we've really got to take a look at that. So how about war on 50 Shades of Grey? Any gender and women's studies majors over here? Okay. How about war on Gossip Girl? Okay, any of you? Some of you are probably... How about war on Desperate Housewives? Okay, so what media is doing is media is pitting us women against each other. And the word we officially use for that is called body snarking. That's the word we have in the Urban Dictionary. You can look that up. Body snarking. So body snarking is when we look at our Facebook pages and we go, ew, look at her outfit. Doesn't she look fat in that? Or we look at our worst part is we look at our own Facebook pictures and we say, oh my God, I didn't realize I looked so fat in that outfit. That is you body snarking on yourself. And please, ladies and gentlemen, this goes for the guys as well, because you know what? Guys are just about 10 years behind girls on this, because you know, we've got the obsession with six-packs going on. And you look at GQ and all, you know, your body and your virility and sex and how you look and the six-pack, all of those are getting connected. And we don't want that for guys, just as much as we don't want that for women. And how about war on the fact that we have a veteran that's returned from the war, one suicide every single day right now. We have one veteran who kills himself every day. Why do we not have that more in the news than the obesity crisis? So why are we attacking our bodies when we really need to be spending the monies in healing these guys from the PTSD? Because they, right? Because we need that. I think the values, I think it's important for us to examine what values fuel into all of this. And I think there are three values that I see: self-determination, self-reliance, and self-control. Those are our American values, right? You can achieve anything at any cost. So anything at any cost means, oh, I think I want to aspire to be a size 0. And men's sizing and women's sizing. Look at how sizing is done. Okay, so men's sizing, waist, inseam, small, medium, large, correct? That's men's sizing. We have 0, we have 00, now we have 000. 1, 4, 6, 12, 14. So what has happened with the sizing industry now is what we call vanity sizing. You guys have heard about that? Okay, where you go into stores and you'll have size 12s and 14s that are actually size 2. So the oppression, again, that's underneath that is you're being told small is good. So a woman feels better about herself and she's more likely to buy those clothes if she sees a size 2 versus she sees a size 14. So this is called messing with our brains. I would use another word, but I'm going to try not to use the word. So I think it's very important that we also look at the commodification of women. You know, we had a 2007 study that was done by American Psychological Association where they talked about the sexualization of young girls and the impact that's having on young girls. And we're having more eating disorders, more depression, and more low self-esteem among young girls. This was a massive, large-scale study that was done. So what I want all of you to do is toddlers in tiaras. Okay, now why is America watching toddlers in tiaras? Please. We've got to think about this. And we're in influential positions. Those of us that are on college campuses, you guys are graduating, some of you are moving on. You're in powerful positions to really make a difference and inspire others to begin to think about health at every size. So the big part that I'm really passionate about is how a person can be fat and fit. Okay, health at every size means that you accept size diversity, you accept that, and you stop fat talk. It's very critical that we stop fat talk, because what do girls do? When women are sitting at a lunch table, I started my diet, and oh my God, I'm already off of it. So we all know the minute you decide, okay, I'm not gonna eat sugar for 3 days, are you not wanting more sugar for those 3 days, right? I mean, that's just a classic piece that happens. So what we need to do is be able to stop fat talk. We really have, women should not bond on fat chat. We cannot afford to bond on fat chat. Please, let's give up on that. I think what's also very important is we recognize that intuitive eating, that when we have mindfulness, when we have meditation in our life, when we slow ourselves down, when we are more mindful, that what we would actually do is connect with our true hungers and our true sensation of fullness. Because if you're running a rat race, chances are you're going to be picking up something on the go. You may eat it really fast and you don't even know if you really enjoyed that food, let alone whether you really feel full or not. So part of the health at every size, intuitive eating, honoring your body, is really learning how to trust yourself. Because remember, part of the mind game that the marketing industry wants to do with you is they want you to get disconnected from your hungers, your soul hungers, all your different hungers, so they can decide for you what you should be hungry about. So if they can decide for you what you should be hungry about, then they have a monopoly over you, and then they own you. And you have to make a decision as to whether you want to be owned by them or you want to own yourself. I think that's critical, right? Doesn't that make sense that you want to own yourself, right? So I think another big piece that is very important in this whole piece that we do over here is really look at the role of violence that shows up, just the violence that we have in the video games, the violence that we have in our movies. Did you guys know that 97% of the media that's made in Hollywood is made by men, for men, aged 15 to 35? Okay? So even all those chick flicks that we like to go and see, those are made for men, by men, and that's why you have so many women with those racy underwear and the lingerie that you see and all those butt pieces and different body parts that you see all over the place. So I think it's very important to recognize that these movies, the Twilight series, I say war on Twilight as well, okay? Twilight series, not that I'm condoning it. Twilight series, the first series was made by a woman director. Subsequent ones was a male director. They didn't choose the same person again, even after the success of the first one. So I think it's super important that we get to a place where what we do is we say, with my wallet, I am going to take back my power, and that we feel this desire to really take back our power. And we really kind of need to examine who is owning our bodies and for us to get in touch with that internal connection. Now, I'm going to just ask you to take a couple seconds and go into your awareness back there about what your thoughts had been when we started and what your thoughts are about how you are feeling about your body. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to end with a quote from the great Mahatma Gandhi, and the quote says, "I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace." And what I'd like to say in quiet moment is, may we all be blessed with the wisdom to become soldiers of peace with our bodies. Thank you, and God bless.